Welcome to The Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always by legendary trainer Teddy Atlas, and today's special guest, our newest hurricane correspondent, live from the eye of the storm in Louisiana. We got the Diamond, Dustin Poirier, reporting on Hurricane Delta. Dustin, what's good?
What's happening, man? Thank you guys for having me back on, as always.
Glad to have you. If you don't mind, can you put on a raincoat and stand outside and show us how windy it is?
Dude, I'm gonna have to get a shop fan to blow on me or something so I can over exaggerate it like these guys do on the news. But
Yeah, man.
I'm definitely here in the storms about to pass us by in South Louisiana.
Well, stay safe.
If anybody can handle a storm, my money's on you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll bob and weave through these lightning strikes.
I'm sure you will. Thank you
Good
for
man.
being with us. It's let's get right to it. It's pretty big news out there. Some guy named McGregor, you might be fighting with fairly soon. What can you tell us about that? And for me, and maybe I speak for the fans, and I hope I do. Boy, I got some nerve now. I'm talking like a UFC person and talking for the fans. But when I say fans, I just mean people. I just mean fight people. For me, we're all the same. We're all brothers and sisters, and we're all enjoying the same thing, watching people that can do something that not everyone can do. They can go into the eye of the storm, as Ken just referred to. They can go into the eye of yourself and to go into that octagon, that ring, whatever it happens to be, whatever the battlegrounds are, it doesn't matter, and face yourself, face things that since you were 4 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, that have haunted you, inhibitions. We all got them. And anyone who can get into those spaces and face those things and then face another man or woman coming at them with everything they got, that's a special person. That's really a special person. They can do anything. If they can face those things and go into those caves, so to speak, those caverns of ourselves, they could go anywhere. Who knows where they could go? And you're one of those people. So it just hit me. I said, what brought this fight on? Like it came out of nowhere. It showed up, like a meteor coming across the sky. Like you walk outside, you say, "Hey, do you guys see that? Something just went across the sky. Where'd that come from?" There was no warning that was coming, and there was no warning that all of a sudden, McGregor was going to say, "Hey, Dustin, let's do it. Let's fight." Like what brought that on, Dustin? Where'd it come from, and where's it at?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's his want to be active. I'm not sure if it's his want to reach the top again and be the lightweight champion again. Honestly, I don't know. But I'm happy it came about, and I'm happy he wants to fight. I know that he wants to get another fight in before 2021. So he wants to finish this year off with a fight. And I think that's the problem that we're running into, getting this thing booked right away, as everybody expects. When you got two guys who say, "Hey, I want to fight," and the other guy says, "I want to do the same," the fans want it, then the promoter puts it on. But right now they have a list of events that are already booked with headliners. And, I think the UFC is angling for this to be a New Year's fight somewhere in January. And Conor's wanting to fight this year, as do I. I want to fight in 2020. I want one more fight this year. And I think it's just those kind of things that are slowing it down from getting this fight done. But the negotiations are alive.
Hey guys, want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Athletic Greens. As you know, these guys have been with us for a while now. We love them. I take this with me everywhere I go. These guys have spent 10 years with top nutritionists and doctors to create this formula. It's made from 75 whole-sourced ingredients. It's got vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, and antioxidants. Again, during these COVID times, you guys know these kind of supplements are critical to maintaining strong immune health. Consider this like an insurance policy for your body's health and immunity. This is literally all you need to stay on top of your immunity, with 12 servings of fruits and vegetables. No need for multivitamins or whatever else you're taking. This product has you covered. Special offer to our listeners, Athletic Greens is giving a year's supply of vitamin D for free with your first order of Athletic Greens. To take advantage, go to athleticgreens.com/atlas, ATLAS. Again, athleticgreens.com/atlas for a free 1-year supply of vitamin D. Again, if you follow the show, you know that we love this product. Like I said, I take it everywhere I go. I take it every single day, whether I'm traveling or not, especially when I'm traveling. I make sure I get it. Love these guys.
When you say New Year's fight, the first thing that hits me is fireworks. New Year's, fireworks, right? And so that's one of the things that hits me with that is both your styles obviously add up to fireworks.
For sure. And this is going to be a 5-round, 25-minute fight. And there's no way two guys like this don't get in there and make something explode.
A lot of striking, baby.
A lot.
I can open my mouth a little bit on this one. The grappling, the jiu-jitsu, all the magnificent things that you guys do, everything, all that stuff. I gotta just watch that. But the striking, I can actually weigh in on. And that's one of the things that's so, when people say to me, where is all this special respect come from, Teddy, with the UFC? What I understood, obviously I always understood the place where you guys all have to go, all fighters. And I already stated that. But when I started giving some extra thought, Dustin, to, you know what, besides punches, which is enough, they're punches with basically no gloves. I mean, minimal. What is it, 4 ounce, I think? Maybe.
4 ounce.
Yeah. And, I mean, we wear 8 and we wear 10 ounce. So, and then you throw into the mix kicks, elbows, knees. Oh, my goodness. And then I'm saying to myself, hey, Teddy, you gotta give them a little more credit, or at least you have to be more cognizant of these are guys that aren't just driving on a road, 90 miles an hour like a fighter, and that's enough. That's enough. But these guys are driving on the road 90 miles an hour, and rocks are coming at them, and then trees are thrown in the middle, and then all of a sudden, there's a lake put over in front of them. So you guys got a lot of obstacles and a lot of stuff coming at you. I'm impressed.
Yeah, to juggle all those things and balance all those different arts and disciplines that make mixed martial arts. It's a tough thing to do, and it's an ever, I don't go to the gym and just work one thing. It's a balance of all these different skills that I have to put to use on the fight night, depending my opponent. Certain things I'll work more in training camp, to prepare for a certain opponent. But it's just a lot of things, a lot of variables. That's why I feel like for gambling and betting, mixed martial arts, I don't know the percentage, but underdogs have to, out of any other sport, gambling wise, mixed martial arts has to have the most upsets. It has to, because there's just too many ways to win and lose.
There's too many intangibles, too many variables, as you just said very well. And, like a kick can come out of the sky. We talk about a lightning bolt could come out of the sky, Ted, when you don't expect it. Well, these guys are dealing with real lightning bolts, kicks coming out of the sky, knees coming up from the basement, things like that. And having said that, you just led me into something, Dustin. I don't know. Sometimes I even know how to segue into something by accident. When the one constant, the one thing that's universal, that doesn't change in whatever particular combat sport it happens to be, is the element of fear. I mean, anyone who says that they don't have it, well, like my great mentor Customato once said, Teddy, they either lie or they should go to a doctor and find out what's the matter. So here's what's extraordinary about you. And listen, all your brothers there too. Each one of them are extraordinary. I'm just talking to you right now. But here you are. You're going into a fight now where it's a rematch. You fought this guy 6 years ago. You were a different person, different fighter, less experienced. But that element, having lost to him the first time, that mental element that is hovering over us like oxygen in the air. I mean, it's always there. The element of fear, the element of just awareness of what can happen. And I always say that 75% of my business is mental. I would have to guess that it's got to be the same, if not more, in your business. How? And I know that for me, this is the question. How do you go into this fight now? Of course, you're more mature. You're 6 years older, more experienced, more successful. You've done magnificent things in those 6 years, won a championship, fought on a stage in huge fights. How do you deal with that elephant in the room? Is that fair? With that elephant in the room, knowing that you lost the first time?
You know, that's going to be hanging over my head for sure. But also to combat that is like you said, my experience and my mindset is different. I'm not a young, mad at the world, mad at critics kid anymore. I know who I am. You know, there's no enemy within, so there's no enemy outside. I'm comfortable with who I am. I believe in my skills. I think before the last fight, a lot of the trash talk, a lot of the critics, I walked into the combat arena feeling like I was fighting more than the man across from me. I felt like I was fighting the organization, the fans, the critics, just everybody, the media. I felt like I was fighting everyone. I had something to prove to everyone. And this ain't, I'm more mature now in the fight game. This ain't that scenario. This is me versus Conor McGregor. That's what it is. Simple. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm confident in my skills. It's just a completely different thing going into this one. And it's not even about revenge, Teddy. It's just about life and fighting and goals and destiny. That's what it's about. It's not about revenge. I'm not trying to get even with this guy. I'm 2-0 in rematches in my career. I've only had 2 rematches as a professional fighter. I won both of them, and I plan on going 3-0. It's that simple. I want to put in the work, show up focused, let nothing from the outside creep inside of this vessel, and I'm going to perform.
Is part of what you learned and you absorbed and you grew into over the last 6 years, is it fair for me to say that if you put one word to it, the most important part, that you know what you didn't know before? You know that Dustin Poirier belongs at this level, that he belongs with these people.
100%. 100%. I'm not going to go in there and fight off of anger. Like I'm going in there and fighting with skills. I feel my last few fights, I've just felt something different happening in the lead up to the fight. It was less pressure. In a weird way, I care less. I cared too much before it, Teddy. I cared too much. And that blinded me and got in the way. I got in the way of myself. I don't care. I mean, I care, but not like I used to. It's different. I know it sounds like
I understand.
It's hard for that, I guess, the average person to understand, but it's very important for me to keep that mindset. I'm going to be all right. Whatever happens, I'm going to be all right. Before, it was the end of the world if I lost. I'm good.
From a fan's perspective, going into the last fight, not knowing you, I would view it like, okay, he needs to win to stay in the UFC. Like, he's got to stay relevant. It's very important. I'd say now you're a bona fide superstar in the UFC. And to your point about upsets in boxing versus the UFC, in boxing, we have a ton of undefeated fighters, and they protect that undefeated record. And Teddy will point this out frequently, is that the B-side in most fights usually has 0 chance of winning, usually. And to your point, in the UFC, the underdog can win it. You can't slip through the cracks and get into the UFC. It's like once you're there, you've already proven something to someone. So I feel like from your perspective, there's a lot less pressure to like prove your worth. Like I think you know it, and the fans know it, and the bosses know it, that Dustin Poirier is a star. Win, lose, or draw, So now, like, that onus of like being relevant and sticking around and being on the rosters doesn't exist anymore. Is that fair?
Maybe that's right, Kim. Maybe I feel more established in that sense. Maybe that's part of
Yeah.
the evolution of my mindset in fighting, But yeah, I feel confident. But like Teddy said, every time you make that walk, you're scared and you're nervous and you don't know what's going to happen. But that's the definition of bravery. It's taking those steps, walking into uncertainty. And I promise you I'll do that.
And you know what that place is now. The first time you got in there with him, you didn't know to the extent that you know now. You didn't know as much about yourself. You didn't have enough information to know, and I'm going to go back to the same word, whether or not you belonged. And now you have all that information and affirmation, if you will, certification. We get certified in life. You got certified. You got certification. I belong here. I know what it takes. And I'll leave it with one other thing. You now know what it is that you have to control. You didn't know that before to this level.
Self. Yeah.
You, not the stuff, not the organization, not the anything. You, not even him. You.
Right.
And that's why I know it's going to be a different result. And that's not knocking McGregor. I understand the star he is. I understand the talent he is. I understand all those things. But I also understand what I just stated.
I appreciate that, man. And going back to why I think he wants this fight is because he's angling to fight Pacquiao, right? That was in the news.
Yeah.
So if I don't know if the UFC wants him to fight one more time before they allow him to fight Pacquiao, or if he just wants to get one more in this year before starting next year with the Pacquiao fight. But what better way to do it against another southpaw?
100%.
I think that might be part of his mindset. Maybe he wants to fight a southpaw before he fights another southpaw. I don't know what's going on, but I just feel like that's what the alignment is.
We do that all the time in boxing. If you know you got a fight coming up with a certain style guy, what do? You try to pick that certain style guy as a fight before that fight. And
right.
I would say, yeah, you're probably on target.
Yeah, and Khabib, the current world champion, who's about to defend his belt in 2 weeks, said if Conor or Tony fights me and wins, that he'll give him a title shot. So that's in the back of his head too. So I think that's all creating this perfect storm coming together, that he's coming out in public and saying, hey, I want to fight Dustin Poirier this year.
You mentioned the trash talk in the first fight maybe had some impact on it. I feel like now versus then, no one in the division really trash talks you. There's like tremendous mutual respect, at least from what I've seen from Gaethje, Ferguson, Khabib, and Conor. It seems to be all business now.
Yeah, I mean, he might trash talk, but for the most part, I feel respected amongst everybody in the division. They know who I am. I have a 10-year track record with the company. I go in there and I bleed and I fight and I win and I do it again, and that's just it. But like I said before, even if the trash talk starts, which is a good chance it will, you can't tell me who I am because I know who I am.
Yep.
When I was younger, I wish I would have had that same mindset.
What's that saying, Dustin? If I only knew then what I know now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times did you hear the older people around you say, youth is wasted on the young? You didn't know what the hell they were talking about. But we start to understand the wisdom of some of those sayings.
Right. And Muhammad Ali said it, one of the best quotes ever. I think it's if you're the same man at 50 as you were when you were 20, you wasted 30 years.
Very well said, yeah. He would say something pretty good.
Yeah, that's just life.
Dustin, with everything we just talked about, and we all have a journey, and your journey was, part of it was to lose to a guy like Conor McGregor. That was part of your journey, part of your destiny, whether you knew it or not. In order to get on track for you to put together the things that had to be put together in Dustin Poirier as a person, to continue that journey the right way, with whatever you want to call it, with tremendous discipline, with tremendous, obviously, determination, relentlessness, whatever. Maybe something to prove, chips on the shoulder, whatever. But it was part of your journey, and it was part of what got you to where you got to, which is world champion, top fighter in the UFC, and a guy that's fought in endless great fights with great fighters. Have you, over those years, because you went past that point, once you got past it, it was in your rearview mirror, it was gone, and now you were becoming a different person. I get it. And it's the person I'm looking at now. Once you've gotten to that secure place, that top of the mountain, so to speak, where the oxygen is different, the view is different, the reflection in the mirror is different. Once you got there, you're human. Did you ever have any thoughts about this guy? Just did it kind of like somebody, like a kid? You got kids, you got beautiful. Did you have two or one?
I have one.
You have how old now?
She's 4.
4 years old. Once in a while, she might open the door. Hey, Daddy, just peek in a little bit. Did it ever peek in there? McGregor's not nearly as cute as your daughter, but did it ever peek into your head? Just with all your success, and you got to this place, did it peek in your head and say, yeah, that guy, I'd like to see him again?
It's any loss that I have on my record, I think about beating those guys, but especially
this guy's different. But go ahead.
Yeah, he's especially a well-known superstar, one of the biggest guys, not in combat sports, but in sports and entertainment, period. Yeah. Worldwide known.
He's got his own whiskey.
He's got his own whiskey.
But does he have his own foundation?
Well, no.
Much more important. No,
and that's
and
pretty
we'll
special.
come back to that.
Yes, we will.
I'll come back to the foundation.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and Conor saying he's going to donate $500,000 to the foundation if the fight happens is incredible as well.
That is
incredible. I always felt it. We would fight again. My wrestling coach, my old previous wrestling coach, always told me that I was going to fight him again, and he was certain of it. And he told me the same thing with Max Holloway before that was even beginning to be discussed. He always said, you're going to fight Max again as well. So I've thought about it plenty of times.
And just think about this, and Ken just broached it, and so did you. Talk about destiny. And part of it is not only to fight him again, in a point in your life where you're Dustin Poirier now, where you're who you need to be now. Not only that, but you run a great foundation that helps people. And on top of it, you talk about a cherry on top and whipped cream added. He's going to give $500,000 to your charity. How great is that?
It's incredible, man. It's perfect. A couple of days ago, a week ago, before this discussion even started, before negotiations started, this was the last thing I thought would be happening. But that's how things work, especially in the fight business. You never know what's going to happen.
And for those people who want to check out The Good Fight, check them out at thegoodfightgroup.com to see what Dustin and his foundation are doing. It's awesome work. We'll mention it again at the end, but I wanted to make sure we got that in there. And for all the Teddy Atlas fans out there, check out the DrAtlasFoundation.com as well. Also doing great work on Staten Island. Hey, who do you like in the Gaethje Khabib fight?
It comes down to execution. If Gaethje can keep his feet in the center of that octagon and keep his back off of the fence, I think he has the credentials, the experience in wrestling to keep it on the feet. And we all know what he does when he's throwing those overhands and he's brawling. Anybody can get hit with that. Those are the hard punches to you can't block all of those. You can the 1-2s, the 1-2-3s, the good technique. That's, for me, I think that's easier to deal with than a guy throwing overhands and winging punches. That those angles and timing are different. So it's going to come down to execution. Who can execute that game plan? If Khabib can bully him against the fence, he's going to win the fight. If Gaethje can keep it in the middle of that octagon, I think he's going to win.
And you know what, Gaethje? I'm sorry, Ken.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to add to what Dustin's saying here, I always say, Dustin, and commentating for 24 years on ESPN, the fights, I always would say it's about geography. Who controls the geography of the ring or the octagon?
The real estate.
Real estate, baby.
Yeah.
And it's no dollars for them. It's punches. 3 punches per square foot. And
there we go.
There it is. Expensive,
Yeah.
It hurts a little. And so it's all about the geography. Who can control the beat where they need to be? Location, location, location. And to that point, and that's what this fight comes to. Again, I think probably every fight comes to that to a great extent. It also, Gaethje showed a dimension in his fight with Ferguson where he showed a discipline that he's going to need. That he showed me that he could have been prone, as you just pointed out pretty well, with the big punches to engage. But he didn't. He allowed Ferguson, who's a very aggressive guy, a little reckless sometimes, to engage first and use his reckless aggression against him.
The Matador.
Gaethje has an extensive wrestling background, and taking yourself out of the equation, do you think that Gaethje might be the best wrestler that Khabib has faced?
As far as wrestling accomplishments, Gaethje's by far a better wrestler than I am. On paper, I didn't wrestle in high school and college. I'm trying to think of who else. He's probably the most decorated wrestler Khabib's fought. Yeah.
That adds an interesting element, because I'd say, based on what we've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think just on paper, Gaethje looks to be a better striker. If he can nullify some of Khabib's wrestling, because Khabib looks to be one of the best wrestlers in the sport, that makes for a really interesting fight. I don't think the fight's getting as much hype as it deserves, mainly because neither one of them is a big trash talker, but I think in terms of competitiveness, this fight is awesome. I mean, I get excited, Teddy will tell you, for every fight, but this is a good fight.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited to watch it, especially because it's in my division and the guy has the interim belt. I just made that walk against the same guy. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited about it. I'm expecting it to do really well on pay-per-view. It's a great matchup. But one thing we didn't talk about just now, he has the credentials of sport wrestling, right? But in wrestling, in collegiate wrestling, there's no fence. And that's where Khabib mauls guys and uses his feet like hands, and his balance is so, I've never felt anyone like that in training before, the way Khabib felt against that fence. And we'll see if Gaethje's prepared for that.
Dustin, I see, obviously, you're about, caring about other people too, which for me makes you more powerful. I speak of that sometimes, where if you only care about yourself, obviously you can have power, but not the power you can have when you care about other people too. It makes you stronger. Man. And I'm talking about your foundation and your commitment to that foundation. And I think there's I think that's an extra strength to that. Kind of like Pacquiao comes to my head, because he cares about the people of the Philippines. He does something about it. And when he gets in that ring, he feels like he's got that strength with him. Do you feel
I know what you're talking
something?
about. Yeah. It's a momentum. It's something that transcends fighting. It feels good. It feels good. And
go ahead.
No, and if the Conor fight does come together with that 500,000 donation, I already have. I know what we're gonna do with it. I'm gonna open up a mixed martial arts / boxing gym in a rough part of town where me and Daniel Cormier grew up, and it's gonna be a youth gym, and tuition is gonna be good grades. That's all it's gonna be. If you can keep your grades up, that you're welcome to train there, and I think it's gonna help out a lot of guys, a lot of people.
That's beautiful. I did that with 3 gyms. For 10 years with my foundation. We subsidized 3 gyms. And I had 3 rules. Bring your report card to get in. Pull your pants up. No sagging. Respect yourself. Respect all others around you.
Uh-huh.
And I put one other element in there at the time. Hired a certified teacher to be there 5 days a week with a very small, little, tiny computer room. That's all we needed. And the kids had to go in that computer room 1 day a week just to see how they were doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Maybe, well, when we get this thing going, maybe if you're okay with that, I'll pick your brain a little bit because I'm kind of walking into this part of it blind. Just an idea I had that I want to turn into something.
I think it's beautiful. I think you're right on it. And I want to thank you because, I don't know, the way I feel, we're all in a fight, Dustin. And in this world right now, in this country right now, we're all in a fight to be better. And you're doing something that's going to help people be better. So I just want to tell you thank you. And not only could you pick my brain, but I would be glad if you invited me to come down there with you and Daniel one day, and maybe I could give a couple boxing lessons.
That would be incredible, man. That would be truly incredible. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That'd be my pleasure.
Excellent. And once again, guys, you can check it out at thegoodfightgroup.com to learn more about Dustin and what he's doing there. Dustin, I want to be sensitive to your time, so just a couple more questions, if that's cool.
That's no problem, but I got a question for you guys. I'm going to flip the script. You're asking me mixed martial arts results. I want to ask you guys, what do you think is going to happen Lomachenko Lopez in a couple weeks?
That's a good one. First of all, that's the most intriguing, meaningful, real fight probably to come to boxing as far as names to go along with talent and styles to come to boxing since this COVID started. It's the first fight that I would put on my calendar. I mean,
you got a young undefeated fighter coming in fighting. Yeah.
I mean, look, we had a great fight. They had a great fight on ESPN last week with Cepeda and Baranchek, but nobody saw it. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody saw it. But they fought like gladiators. But nobody saw it on ESPN Plus. And quite frankly, one of the reasons why no one saw is they hadn't been putting good fights on, to be quite honest. You boxing guys that want to get after me a little bit, it's true. They've been putting on A's and B's and spawn sessions, and the UFC has been putting on real fights. So they fell behind. But this is the fight that can get them back, that people will come out and have been waiting for because of what you just said. You got a 23-year-old kid who, man, he can punch. And not only can he punch, he's explosive. Well, Teddy, people are going to be saying, but Teddy, isn't that the same? Isn't that an oxymoron? No. What I mean by that, he can really bang, but he closes the gap in an explosive way to bang. Kind of like Pacquiao when he was young. Yeah, Pacquiao could punch, but he used to close that gap with the punch so fast, and that scored a lot of knockouts for him. Lopez has that ability where he can close that gap, bang! He's like a leopard that you think he's at a safe distance, and then all of a sudden he pounces and it's too late. The leopard's got you. So you got that. You got confidence. He hasn't learned how to lose. You got a maniac father with him, and I'm saying it in a nice way. Because any fathers that train their sons, you got to be a little crazy anyway. But because it's a tough mix. It's a tough mix.
Isn't Lomachenko's father in his camp as well?
He's more of a professor. He's a little calmer, but he's a little bit more cerebral that way.
Teddy, a little calmer.
Well, that's an understatement. Okay, I was a little bit. And listen, I'm not knocking Lopez's father. He's done a magnificent job. He's got his son, champion of the world, fighting in a huge fight. So bravo, he's done a great job. But I believe in pointing out things that are things that I believe to be true, even if sometimes you have to say somewhere somebody's eyebrow might go up a half an inch. And, that's what I'm here to do. And again, I'm not knocking the guy. I'm saying the guy loves his son. He's exuberant. He thinks his son's the greatest in the world. That helps. That helps to a certain extent. The son feeds off of that. That's another thing he's got going in there. Of course, Lomachenko has it too. But it's going to, for me, you got this young guy who believes, and then you got the technician. You know, you got the Matrix. You got Neil from the Matrix, that he does this and this and this and stuff's going around him, and and he's right there to catch you. You got a guy who's technically probably the best fighter in boxing, and one of the strongest mindsets, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. You got him in there with this dynamic talent. I tell you, you're right, Dustin. It's a terrific match to look forward to. I start to say that Lomachenko has shown me he's 32. Now, a lot of people are going to say that's not old. I don't judge, and you're going to understand this better than most. I don't judge fighters' ages chronologically. I judge them by the amount of punches they've taken and the amount of fights they've been in and what kind of fights they've been in. There's a kid that has obviously, gotten the better of it most of the time in the ring, and he's so smart. But he had 400 amateur fights. I'll say it again, 400 amateur fights. That's kind of a lot. And so he could start to be on the other side just a tiny bit, where most people wouldn't even see it, but just a tiny bit maybe on the other side of his, just a little bit, putting that foot in the shadow, tiny bit. And that tiny bit with a young guy who's this explosive could mean something. At the end of the day, if you ask me where my proof is, against Campbell over in London, also a gold medalist, Lomachenko in his last fight, he was a little like Pacquiao, where Pacquiao, as great as he is, he's 40-something years old, he's still winning fights against, he's extraordinary, special, iconic. But he's not as aggressive as he used to be. He's a little less. He's toned it down. And I saw a little toning down in Lomachenko. It's not a negative, but I just saw in the late rounds with Campbell, he didn't go after him the way he would have went to close the show with someone else. Part of that, he's getting a little older. Maybe it's also smart, whatever you want to call it. Maybe that's going to serve him, actually, in this fight. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you put a gun to my head, I'd say it's a dangerous fight for Lomachenko. But I'm not betting against the master. Not yet. Not yet. Because these guys have a way. These older guys that have been special for a long time, they have a way when they know that it's the time, when they know it's that moment again, they bring it. They put it together. So that's my answer.
It's a real fight. Yeah, it's a real fight.
To Teddy's point, we saw that with Nonito Donaire against Naoya Inoue. Everyone thought, including me, that Inoue was going to win by like homicide. And Nonito Donaire took him the distance and looked like as good as he's ever looked, probably. And so I'm with Teddy. I think that this guy, Lopez, is incredible and athletic, but I think Lomachenko might be too much for him, but who knows?
Listen, having said all that, Dustin and Ken, there's no margin for error in this fight at all. Lomachenko got dropped by Linares a couple of fights ago. It happens. Yep. What's more important? He got up and he stopped the guy like a round later or whatever. That's what counts. That's what the great ones do. And your business too, obviously. But there is no margin for error in this fight. He's got to be as perfect as he's ever been. And I think that he knows that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you like what Teddy had to say about the Loma Lopez fight, head on over to MyBookie. Check them out at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS, ATLAS, for 100% credit on your first deposit, up to $1,000. So you deposit $1,000, they'll give you another $1,000 to play with. You'll have $2,000. And if you like Teddy's opinion and advice on that fight, jump on it often and early. These guys have been with us for a while. They have lines on everything. NFL, Major League Baseball. Check them out again, mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS, ATLAS, for 100% credit up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Well, Dustin, back to before we let you go, I just wanted to know they're talking about a November or December date as possibilities for 2020 as the only 2 pay-per-view shows left. Do you have a preference?
The November 21st is, I'm actually, if the storm doesn't mess it up too bad, my travel plans, I'm leaving Sunday. I'm going back to Florida just to be in the gym. I can't get a week back, so I'd rather be safe than sorry if the fight does come together last second. But that's only 6 weeks away, November. I'd like it to be December. Give me a full training camp for a huge fight like this. But we'll see. Those are the dates that Conor's pushing for. I'm not sure exactly what the UFC is planning. I'm hoping it gets cleared up pretty soon.
Let me throw something at you. I'm sorry, Ken.
Go ahead.
Just in case it goes shorter, which it might. It might.
Yeah.
It might have to go because of the things you're talking about. It's not a negative as far as a full. I'll tell you why. It could be, but I'll tell you why. Because sometimes it works to your benefit. Because sometimes by accident we might overtrain.
Yeah.
We might. Am I right, Dustin?
Yep.
And sometimes when you're forced, and look, I'm not talking about a 2-week camp. Good luck. If that's the case, that's tough.
Right.
That's pretty rough. But I'm talking about you still got 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 6, whatever. And
I'm going in 6 weeks, and I'm showing up there in shape, ready to go.
And you're going into shape.
Yeah.
I'm saying it might be for the best. That's all.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
And
ask Michael Bisping when he got his title shot against Luke Rockhold how the short notice worked out. He went in and fought one of the best fights of his life and knocked him out cold. Became the champion.
It's 100%.
I was the first fight on the pay-per-view opener that night.
Yep.
And it also gives you less time sometimes to browbeat yourself.
Yeah.
And that to overthink it.
Yeah.
I remember over the history of this sport, my sport in boxing, Dustin, where I always said, you know what, I'd like to do a research. I think it'd be awful interesting. I have enough in my head, so I know that it would be a damn good list of guys that pulled off huge upsets on short notice. There's a reason. There has to be a quantifiable reason attached to it.
Andy Ruiz,
yeah. There you go.
Less time.
Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
perfect.
There it is. Less time to dwell on the pressure, to eat away at you, to deteriorate you. Less time. And you're ready. You're ready, and sometimes you get too ready.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Think long, think wrong.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that the great Chael P. Sonnen pointed out, I think he's one of the best guys doing this in any kind of analysis in the UFC in particular. But one of the things he pointed out is that Conor has a tendency to call for fights on like a 6 to 8 week notice, kind of like what Floyd Mayweather used to do. There's not a 3 to 6 month buildup. The fight's announced. It's promoted, they get ready, and it's go time. And that's kind of in keeping with his tradition. He's calling for this fight. Like November will be, like you said, 6 weeks would be short, but November, December, not a lot of time to think about it. Let's just get down to business. So, listen, I hope it happens for you. That's a huge fight. I don't have to tell you, but we're certainly pulling for you, looking forward to it. I hope everything goes smoothly, a lot smoother than the Ferguson negotiations went. Hopefully they, you get what you deserve and what you think what you need to get this done, and we'll be in your corner, that's for sure.
I appreciate you guys very much.
Appreciate you, Dustin, and happy for you and your family, and all your fans.
Thanks, Teddy. Appreciate it.
You've earned every damn bit of it.
And I'll continue to do it.
Yes, I know you will. And I'll just finish with, I like that guy behind you, the first black heavyweight champion. I believe that's who that is, Jack Johnson. First black heavyweight champion of boxing back in the 1920s. That guy was pretty damn special. He was a pioneer. But he was a guy that, you talk about going through fire, to get to where you want to go. That's a good guy for you to have behind you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You talk about, or I talk about beginning of this interview about feeling like I was fighting the media and the critics. Think about what this guy had to fight.
Yes, sir.
Think about the things stacked up against him.
Yes,
unbelievable.
Everything shrinks.
A champion in every sense of the word.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Hey guys, one last time, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Athletic Greens. Once again, can't say enough good things. Check them out at athleticgreens.com/Atlas, ATLAS, to take advantage of the special offer. That's a year supply of vitamin D with your first order of Athletic Greens. Again, these guys have spent 10 years with top nutritionists and doctors to create this formula. It's made from whole-sourced ingredients. It basically has everything you could ask for in a multivitamin. Again, like an insurance policy for your immune system during these COVID times. It's critically important that you stay topped up on your supplements, vitamins, minerals. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's true. This stuff you can't take for granted, your health, and this is, again, like an insurance policy that I use for myself. Check them out at athleticgreens.com/Atlas, ATLAS, for a free 1-year supply of vitamin D, which is one of the most important supplements or vitamins you can take for your immune system. Well, listen, Dustin, thanks so much for doing this. Please stay safe with the hurricane. Again, guys, please check out thegoodfightgroup.com to see what Dustin and his charity are up to. They're always doing good things. Again, Dustin, thanks so much. Please be safe with the hurricane. If you have to, get out there and you know what to do. Jump a guillotine.
Always jump the guillotine.
This kid is unbelievable. He's
jump the guillotine.
Unbelievable. Wow. He's growing.
And stay
right
hydrated. And stay hydrated and stretch.
Best of luck, Dustin. Give up best to your family too.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.